Alright, hello everyone. So this is not the normal video you'd see from me. I'm heading out to the desert right now and to set up game cameras. No, not because I'm hunting. Well, in a manner of speaking, I'm hunting. This is for my group, Southern Arizona Militia. You'll excuse some of the noise and the shakiness. I don't have a way to mount my regular camera and things like that in here, so you're stuck with my cell phone, at least while I'm driving, and some shakiness of the desert roads. Anyway, so last week, talking to the Sheriff's Department, they had, last week we were out in an area that was just outside of the TO, which is an Indian reservation, the Tohono O'odham. I know I'm not pronouncing it exactly correctly, but I really don't care. We were in an area north of the reservation, and this is going to be east of the reservation. And what makes the reservation important is that the Indians get paid to help cartels into this country and to help smuggle illegals into this country. And they get paid well to do so. So, and the Indians don't like Border Patrol, they don't like the Bureau of Land Management, they don't like the National Guard, they don't like any of the agencies on their land. So it makes for kind of free passage for illegals and smugglers to get into this country, because it's the reservation that sits on the southern border, on Arizona's southern border. So we're heading out east of the reservation right now to set up these game cameras, because the Sheriff's Department had said that they had seen more activity out this direction. And I have a few spots. I've been in, the group's been in this area before and found drop points where somebody had obviously gotten picked up with some dope. They found evidence of their packs, found evidence of the rope and baling twine that they use to tie the bundles together, and backpacks, blankets, water jugs, those sort of things. All of it was fairly new. None of it was brand new, but all of it was fairly new. So we're going to go back to those areas and see if there's any new activity. And see if I can find some good spots to put these trail cameras up, leave them out for a week or two, and see what and then come back and check on them and see what they come up with. Now, sometimes we do this as a group, sometimes we do it on our own. Well, sometimes we do it as a group, sometimes myself and one or two other guys do it on our own. Just depends on what's going on, what day of the week it is, when we are out and not out, what area we're out in, and so on and so on. Oh yeah, that is a really rough patch right there, as you can see. So we are about, I'm thinking, if I remember the map correctly, we are about 5 or 6 miles east of the reservation right now. And about 6 miles back, 6 or 8 miles back, there's a little tiny community of people that, they just, they don't even know that what is so close to them right now, because only a few miles the other way is sorry. Only a few miles the other way are some potentially really dangerous people. What the hell is that? Alright, I'll come back and look at that. Maybe you guys see what I was talking about. There seems to be a marker, and it's not a government marker like Bureau of Land Management or Border or Fish and Game or anything like that. They'll put markers out here for certain reasons. But there was a marker out there. So what I'm doing right now is looking for, so one of the last things they do, or at least in my experience, one of the later things they do is, so I'm on a desert road right now, I'm on a dirt road right now, and out there's desert. And they'll get their pickups, you know, somebody will meet them out here in a truck or something like that, and or a vehicle, and the last thing they'll do is dump their pack, dump their water, you know, get rid of their extra water bottles if they have any and things like that. And so you'll find them, you know, no matter where you're at, if it's an area that they use all the time, you'll find them right off the road. And if you start finding these bottles, that's a good place to start heading that way to see where they came from. Where I'm heading is a tank that is not a tank in the sense of a physical tank, like a man-made tank. It's a tank in the sense of a natural depression in the ground that is usually a lower lying, shaded, cooler, wetter place. And these tend to be areas. All right, here we go. All right, I considered changing to my regular camera for this. Okay, so I'm out here. I got my shotgun with me because out of the last 4 times of being out, saw about a half dozen rattlesnakes. So I got my pistol and a spare mag on me. I'm not real worried about running into somebody right now. Yeah, let me see if I can change this. Let's change the direction of the camera. I don't know how to do that. All right, I don't know how to do that, so hopefully you can see what's happening when I turn the camera around. So this is what I was talking about. Bottles. That one's still pliable. Looks like what was maybe left of a blanket or something, or a pair of long johns. Here's an old backpack. That's an old backpack. That's an old backpack. Alright, so that was a good example of when I say you can see some of these signs from the road. That's it. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a piece of plastic. Okay, so this is that twine. This is old, but this is that rope. This is the rope that they use, or some of it, that they use to bundle their drugs. If you look at like game camera footage from other patriots and militia groups, and you see these big square bundles of dope on their backs, that's the twine. That's the ropey twine that they use to bundle that together. All right, so I'll put you back up here. If I can figure out how to use my mount now. All right. Damn this shaky road. Alright, so here is actually where I was headed to begin with. There's another bottle down there. I'm on a little bit elevated. Okay, so we're gonna go down inside there. But you see how I'm on an elevated area? Looks like I'm even with the tops of the trees and bushes. It's because I am. And down inside there's the tank. So I'm gonna find a place to park, which will be right down here. Let's see what's in the tank. Tank's green. Alright, so gonna give you a look. Oh, there's a bottle right there. And then down inside there's the tank. gonna go look. Now, last time I was here, that bottle wasn't here, which was about a month ago. So I'm gonna go check out that bottle real quick before I go down in the tank. See how it could have been blown here. Could have been washed here by some rain, although we haven't really gotten any rain. But I don't remember that bottle being right there. Oh no, that's an older bottle. That's an older bottle. Could have been blown here. Could have been blown or washed here. I know there's a lot of me just walking around, and it probably sucks for video, but when I'm not at work full time and I'm not teaching people firearm stuff and tactics and not doing this with a group, I'm doing it on my own. Hey, there's another bottle there. There's another bottle there. Now, I'm not going to walk into that high grassy stuff, because that is where rattlesnakes tend to like to be. Old bottle. Yeah, it's an older bottle. So, let me show you something also. So right across from me, you see where that goes up out of there. It's mostly a game trail, just like that one there. But that's also a good spot for them to lay down, peek over the edge, and wait for their ride. I don't see anything other than animal tracks in here right now. Bunch of trash. Bunch of garbage. I wish I could see down in that grass, but I'm not gonna. Out here all alone like this. I mean, if everybody else was with me right now, I might go through it with a stick, trying to clear some stuff out. But by myself, it's just too much of a health risk. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. This is a spot that I'm thinking about putting one of the cameras up. Only a few miles outside of the reservation right now. The bottles inside the tank very well could have been washed there. They were a little older. But the ones outside of the tank don't appear to be washed there. They appeared that they were either blown there or left there. All right, moving on. All right, so at some point in time, one of you guys have probably thought to yourself, why am I not actually on the border doing this? To be quite honest with you, one of the biggest reasons is that people just don't do it up here like they need to. They either want the glory, they're glory hounds, where they want to be on the border. I've been down there before, and there's plenty of reasons to be down there, but people just don't work these areas enough. And like I said, the reservation is a giant opening that the government can't work, or less at least. And we're whatever 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes into this video, and you and I are the only people here. So you haven't seen Border Patrol flying down this road. You haven't seen BLM flying down this road, and I don't mean Black Lives Matter. They would never put in this amount of work into anything except for blocking off a road. But Bureau of Land Management, you'll see Fish and Game out here. So there's people that work the border that want to be, that are basically glory hounds. They're cowboys. They want to go down there, run around, and some of them just don't eat. They don't even care if they actually end up catching anybody. They want to be able to post pictures to their social media page about how fucking badass they are because they're down there at the border. And then there's really legitimate groups that are down there that do what they can. They catch people all the time. They help divert traffic and make it harder on the illegals and smugglers to do their thing. And but one common thread is that there's a lot of groups that kind of have a territory. That's the area they work, and they work all the time, and they don't want anybody else even in that area. They don't want anybody else even in that area, and it sucks. It sucks. But again, this area is an area that's not hit like it should be. Okay, so out there, there's a depression. There's a wash. I'm gonna go check that out real quick. I'm not gonna take you with me. Couple black bottles. But that's an area that water, when it does rain, that water will run, and so those black bottles could have come from 5 miles up. So I think that tank back there is one place I am going to set one of the cameras. Now we're getting much closer to the reservation at this point. And I don't like getting too close. because the Indians don't like white folks, especially white folks with guns on the reservation. And it's not unheard of to be met with firepower if you stumble across their land. That doesn't mean the roads that, the public roads that do run through the res in areas of the state, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these off the beaten path areas. And I just don't feel like a gunfight with Indians today, especially by myself. Call me crazy. Alright, so we have tire marks. They're not new ones though. There's tire marks going through this wash. And they'll travel washes, but nothing was real new there. That incessant clanking you hear is one of the handles for one of my ammo cans. Alright, so see this road here? This little path here? These are all throughout the desert, right? There's my truck. So in through there, by the way, that's the berm of that tank we were at earlier. But in through here, there's a whole bunch of different water bottles, not inside the tank. So I've chosen, you can probably see my shotgun, maybe not, but I've chosen to put my camera here. And generally, this would be the view, generally speaking. And I think it's hidden enough. I think it's hidden enough that that nobody will see it. So I have it set up on one picture and a 10 picture and video, one picture and a 10-second video. So we'll come back in a week and see what this catches throughout the rest of this weekend and the rest of this week. All right, so I headed back to my truck now. Now it has those cameras have a 75-foot. I think the sensitivity first of all I have set on medium because I had it set on low before, and or high. I mean, I had it set on high before, and then I was everything. A fly would set it off. I mean, just I think I had 6,000 pictures in 2 weeks. Most of which were a mouse. Most of which were a mouse or a limb, a tree limb or something blowing. It's pretty ridiculous. So I set it on medium this time, and made sure there was plenty of branches cleared out of the way, and see if that does any better. But it has a 65-foot IR distance. Has a 65-foot IR distance and a 75-foot daylight. sensitivity distance. So the road, that little path was about 50 feet or so, just pacing it out. So we'll see what happens there. May get a bunch of four-wheelers. The next place we're going is a place that, so first of all, I guess I should say that, so I went all the way almost to the res. I was only about maybe 100 yards or so, a couple hundred yards away from the reservation, and it was getting too hard to track people. There were some horse tracks, there was some cow tracks, there were some people tracks, as well as coyote and things like that. But the problem was there were so many, you really couldn't tell what it was. And you know, if there's horse tracks, that's you know, there's a bunch of ranchers in the area, so that may be them. More likely is them. Also, I was hitting areas that were heavily patrolled by Game and Fish and Bureau of Land Management, and they tend to pick stuff up. So as far as like bottles and trash, old food cans, stuff like that, there wasn't a whole lot of signs where I was at. And if the sheriff's department knew that there was activity out there, that means they've been out there. You know, some of these agencies have been out there, so they likely may have cleaned up some stuff. So it was hard to tell where I should have, or good places to have set a camera. So I got back to the tank. I told you earlier that I wanted to put a camera at that tank. And now I'm looking at this area that I first showed you, the twine and a couple bottles and trash and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about there, but up here there's a road. Now, last time I was out here, we patrolled this area. There's a road that comes out here, right here. And back in this area here, we found brand new bottles still in their carrying bags. And if you haven't seen them, the carrying bags are usually like camouflage, little just cloth bags that they tie their bottles to and so on. And so I want to get back here, see if I can find that again. I didn't have my phone on me to GPS it. But this seems to be an active area. You gotta be careful coming back here because you can't see it, but there are a lot of rocks back here. That's a good place. Good place to pop a tire. And there's a lot of desert here. So at 75 feet, where these, the viewing area of these cameras, I mean, I could set a camera up and 50 yards to one side of it, 1,000 people could pass and it would never know. You know, it would never pick it up. And that's the biggest downfalls. I mean, the biggest headache and the biggest, I guess the biggest issue is that you just can't cover it all at once. So I was driving along, saw some stuff. That's an old backpack there. Really old, mind you. Two old backpacks over there. Right there. A hat. And some trash over there. So I'm gonna head up that direction. While those are really old doesn't necessarily mean that really new doesn't come through here. Not at all. That's just a lot of ground to cover to find the right spot to put up a camera. Alright, so I set out my last camera. I didn't show you that one because, well, it would make it too obvious where it was. I mean, really only somebody from this area that is really familiar with this area is going to recognize the first place based on this scenery. But the second place that I set it, that I set another camera, is far too obvious of a location, and I don't want, you know, it's not just good people that are going to see this video. So what I don't want is, if I decide to use that area again because of anything I find, I don't want somebody going out there messing with the cameras because they saw it on the video. So that's it, and this will be part one. Part two will be much shorter because it'll just be an explanation of what I found, if anything, and with some still shots or videos of what I found or what the cameras picked up. So we'll talk to you later.